This is Plastics Technology's Tony DeLigio, looking at the art versus the science of extrusion at the Extrusion 2016 conference.
I would say that maybe it's less known. I think extrusion is a very technologically advanced art, not so much of unknown science. There's a lot of technology that goes into extrusion. People just aren't aware of it.
Well,
maybe you can speak to
sometimes
that.
it has to be an art because people have to be out there using their experience. It can be over-scientized, though. You can have lots of information about fluid flow and about materials and so forth. The key, let me summarize, is the materials vary, and to understand the basics of materials and how they differ from one another is important. People like to think it's an art sometimes because they like to think that their feelings and their relationships to the material are what counts. The bottom line is it's both. The more science, there should not be a contrast. The more science you put in, okay. If it's practical, good. The more understanding of the materials, those things. And the experience of being by an extruder, learning to hear the sounds and see the things coming out and see something like if a sheet is sagging a little more or smoking a little more, it's a little bit too hot, stuff like that. That you could say that's an art, and it is non-data describable, so it's very important. But I don't like to see them as a contrast, one or the other. Yeah. People have asked me, would I design a screw based on what the computer would say? And my answer is no. Would I design a screw based on just what I know after years of experience? No. Why can't I have both? I want to run it through a simulator and use my experience to say, try this, try that.
One of the main things that I really try to talk about is in extrusion, trying to make it more of a science and try to remove the black art, trying to control the variables. My focus for the last 7 or 8 years has been medical, and that's where we absolutely are making it a science, because they're not just making tubing to ODs and IDs and walls, but having to make them with specific properties, where they're looking for crystalline or amorphous or elongation or burst strength. They're very specific. So again, definitely heading toward that direction. It's just with extrusion, it just seems like it takes longer. Change is difficult for us humans.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from an auxiliary perspective, so you have to take that with a bit of a grain of salt, but it's such a commodity in most cases. It's a commodity market, highly competitive from a price standpoint. So I don't know that they're averse to technology as much as they really need to be careful with their investments. In this kind of situation, the ROIs, the payback for the types of improvements that have been talked about are generally pretty clear. So they are open to technology when it's going to pay for itself.